I have a really special guest today. We have somebody who's experienced soccer in all parts of the world and is currently ready to show his levels here at DC United. We've got Hosei Kijima. Jose, first off, how are you doing?
I'm great, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Jose, coming from an international school in Tokyo and coming all the way to IMG, which is a place that you were able to visit very recently, as you guys had a preseason camp in Florida. Could you talk a little bit about your journey of going all the way across the globe and your journey early in soccer, and also how does it feel to be back at IMG?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I was in obviously international school from first grade, well, kindergarten to I think it was sixth grade. And yeah, regular school. It wasn't an athletic academy or anything like that. I used to be a swimmer at that school, so swimming was a big sport around Tokyo at that time. But yeah, just swimming, a little bit of soccer on the side, but nothing crazy. I think I was six, maybe 7 years old when I decided to switch from swimming to football. And I joined a local team near my house, about a 5 minute walk from my house. It was a local team, nothing like no J League, no professional youth academy, anything like that. So a lot of technical work, development was done there for me personally. And I got to see the Japanese um, football culture, especially the youth side of things, right? And how they develop their kids and how they try to grow them not only as a player but as a person as well. And so my parents were very international thinking, if that makes sense. They they were looking for academies around the world for me to go to. Well, go to just for the summer, just because I think they thought I couldn't really speak English at an environment like Japan, and just learn about about different cultures and things like that. So the first camp I went to was at Manchester United Soccer Schools. That was in England, and yeah, it was. I was 9 when I rode the plane by myself on the I guess it was called the unaccompanied minor back then with Delta. But yeah, I still remember I was sitting on the plane. I was just like I didn't know what to expect. And it's just a 1 month camp. A lot of adversity in terms of not only adapting to an environment, a new environment, but obviously different culture, slightly different terminology in the English side of things, obviously because it's the UK, but yeah, I got to learn a lot of things. I got to meet a lot of great people, and yeah, it ended up being a really good experience. And then the next year, I decided to go to IMG Academy for a summer camp, and I was there for a month as well. And I decided, um, well, the coach there, Marcelo Carrera, was basically looking for student athletes, and they had identified me as one of the potential students to actually board there as a soccer player and go to school there. So yeah, they had asked me to if I wanted to go, and I just blatantly said yes, no thinking behind it. It was almost an unconscious decision, and it took my parents a week to decide to let me go, which was very grateful for them as well. But they let me go to IMG Academy for 7 to 8 years, 7 years, I think it was, middle school and high school. But in terms of going back there for preseason, it was a dream because um, it's such a small thing. But I would see professional players walking around when I was going to school there. Like getting the professional treatment, if that makes sense. There used to be a Gatorade. This is something very minor, but it was such a huge thing for me. There was a Gatorade bar, and only pro athletes were allowed to take whatever they wanted. And we would actually get scolded if we tried to get anything. And every time I go back, I always try to go to the Gatorade bar and just I ask for stuff. And they see that I'm a professional player, and they basically give me anything. And it wasn't like I guess um, it was almost very I got emotional because like I was actually treated as a professional at the academy, and um I had never felt that way, and I was able to achieve that. what 2 weeks ago, which was an incredible dream, and I got to see Marcelo and Oscar was my other coach, Gianluca was my other coach as well, a bunch of other coaches that helped me develop to the person and player I am today.
So I can assume that you were telling all of your DC United players and bragging about how you could t steal all from the Gatorade bar finally, which is nice. Talk to me a little bit about Marcelo. I mean, he seems to have a lot of impact on your life, and I mean, it's probably something that's fueled you as a player, as a person, and like talk to me a little bit about that relationship.
Yeah, Marcelo Carrera is so he used to be a pro, so he understands what it's like to be a player. So he was empathetic and sympathetic at the same time, which helped a lot. But yeah, he played for Independiente in Argentina as well as the Columbus Crew here in the MLS. So yeah, great mentor. He understood the game like no other. Him and Oscar Pisano as well. He's not at the academy anymore, but he was a big part of my life because he actually coached me more than Marcelo. Marcelo was coaching what was called the Development Academy back then, and Oscar Pisano was the national elite team. And I got kicked out of the Development Academy team because apparently I was international, but
Mm.
I was 12 years old at the time, and FIFA made that rule of like international players can't play in the academy teams.
Yeah.
Um, but basically, what happened was they thought, or they made a mistake in my documents or something, is what they told me. So I couldn't play for the division development academy anymore. And so then I got transferred to the national elite team, which had all the internationals in there, and then that's where I had Oscar Pisano, and yeah, he was a great mentor to me as well. He was a crazy guy, but it fit my mentality, fit my player profile. So, um, but yeah, so grateful for both of them and what they helped me do in the past few years.
I mean, I think like the grit and the mentality that you speak of, I certainly saw it throughout all your games at St. Louis. Unfortunately, that coming with a goal against my Houston Dynamo, which makes me a little sad. But I mean, talk to me a little bit about like kind of the player that you wanted to like turn yourself into. You mentioned in an interview with St. Louis City that they played you all across the field and even a year at center back. I mean, any position that specifically called you at an early age or specific play style or mentality that you wanted to adopt?
Yeah, I realized at a younger age that I wasn't really a skillful player back then, nor was I tactically sound, nor was I that physically strong. So I had to find a unique, almost characteristic for myself that would actually stand out to coaches and my teammates as well. But that happened to be versatility, and I developed my IQ at Wake Forest as well, but also the physical and technical aspect of it came there as well, and IMG as well. But um, it was a matter of seeing a variety of positions, variety of angles through the game, to where yeah, I can slot in anywhere. And I also want to give that to the coach. Like very flexible and if somebody gets injured or somebody gets suspended or if they want to make a certain sub, they can put me anywhere they want and they can still play we can still play the way we want to. And that's something I pride myself on.
And at Wake Forest, I mean, your first game was against Louisville, and then you had the brace against Boston College that everyone has talked about. But you mentioned that your favorite time was really of seeing all of your teammates work hard, push themselves, and work as a collective unit. So, I mean, talk to me a little bit about that, like college NCAA brotherhood, if you were to put it that way, and how that really helped you kind of like turn yourself into the player that you are.
Yeah. So me coming from a different culture, it was very different. I struggled a lot in terms of fitting in with the team, just because yeah, I was seen as weird and different a little bit because of the amount of training and amount of time I invested in on the football and academic side. people thought I didn't really relax or have free time, and that was the case. So I didn't really, unless it was on the field, I didn't really connect with them. But when I was on the field, I really connected with them because it was a certain language we spoke. I didn't speak the off the field language, which is something, of course, I need to work on, and I'm still to this day working on. But yeah, it was. I got to know a lot of great people, great coaches, great staff, great teammates, and yeah, I wouldn't, even if I got to go back in time, I wouldn't change anything about it because the change I had not only as a player but as a person. Um, it was Bobby Muse at Wake Forest calls it evolution. It's not change, it's evolution, but that's something I live by as well. And yeah, wouldn't want it any other way.
And then, so you mentioned a lot in a lot of interviews that you didn't expect to become a professional until the moment that you got drafted. Talk to me about how it felt to get drafted, going through the draft, and undertaking your rookie year.
Yeah, I mean, it was full of gratitude. It wasn't even excitement. It was just like I was just so thankful for the people who made it happen. Not only like, Wake Forest, St. Louis, Wasserman as well. So it's just the people around me like just supported me 100%. And like I couldn't be any more grateful than I was. And yeah, yeah, of course I was excited, but it was a dream come true for sure.
And then now you're here in DC and ready to take on another adjustment on a new team. How has that been going for you? How has preseason been going? And I mean, we've got 1 week until the opener.
Yeah, I mean it's been great. Great staff, great team. Troy Lesane is one of my favorite coaches. He's so personable and he cares and I've got to know him and I just love his intensity. I love his obsession for the game. Him and Zach and Alex Martinez, but they're all so obsessed with the game. Like I really relate with that, and it's helped me to adapt with the team. It's helped me feel home because it's like a lot of like-minded people, and yeah, I just love the culture around it, and I just love the obsessiveness around the journey to get better.
And Troy, I was able to speak to him yesterday, and he was really happy with bringing you onto this team. He even went on and saying that he wished he could have gotten you earlier before St. Louis, but he sure is happy to have you here. Um, and I mean, you've mentioned it during this entire interview how you just have like a little bit of a different perspective on the game, and with that, obviously has come like the world famous paper that you put out over Deservy and all of kind of the academic or the intellectual relationships you've built around the game. I mean, how did that start? How have you been able to keep doing it, or like how has that relationship kind of impacted you as a player?
It all started with Bobby Muse telling me that I didn't watch enough film, and I was just like, I've said it in multiple other interviews. I was like, okay, I'll show you. Like you won't ever see a player like me anymore who is that obsessed with film. And like I let him know that as well. Obviously in a positive manner, right? Like he almost sparked that. Um, of like he gave me a different dimension of learning because learning doesn't always happen on the field. It can happen off the field on your phone. Like watching it sideways, watching a game sideways, and you can see movements, you can see certain gaps you may or may not have exploited. You can see the other team's structure. You can see the playing style. You can see basically everything because it's video. That's the upside of technology, right? They record every single thing and they won't miss anything unless it's out of frame because obviously cameras. But I mean, going back to what Troy said, really thankful of him bringing me in and um, yeah, I'm just very thankful of Ali as well, Ali Mackay, of bringing me in as well, and I'm so focused on helping BC not only win games but win trophies, and um, yeah, I'm looking to give everything I have this year, and more than 100% if I had it, but um, yeah, I'm fully focused here, and I can't wait to not only play Houston Dynamo tomorrow, but
There we
just
go.
continue working, continue trying to absorb not only my teammates' knowledge, but Troy, Zach, and Alex's knowledge. So yeah, very excited.
And I mentioned earlier that we are almost a week away from the opener against Toronto, and your first time at Audi Field, your first time with the fans, your first time experiencing this DC culture. Are you excited? What's running through your head about that? Talk to me a little bit about like how you feel ahead of the opener.
Yeah, I mean, I when I think of fans, I think of wanting to entertain them. Football has a sense, an aspect of being an entertaining game. That's why fans watch it, right? Not only supporting the team, but be entertaining. And I want to make the game entertaining for them. And obviously we want to win every single thing, not even just game, just every single thing um, moving forward. But I'm very excited to see the DC's football culture and Audi Field and I guess almost the camaraderie, if that makes sense, of around game day and fans. I'm really into like trading cards and like jerseys and things like that as well. So, but yeah, very excited and thankful for all the fans that's given us support already.
Have you been able to you've been able to see the new kit? Speaking of jerseys, I think most of the team has given it a positive review, but obviously I want to hear your thoughts about it as it pays homage to a lot of history and a lot of tradition that DC has.
Of course. I mean, yeah, I love the colors. I love the idea behind it of like building a community around it and connecting with the fans and, the city and just everything around it. Like you look at the jersey and you see, yeah, that's DC United, and yeah, beautiful. I am a little bit, I do miss the cherry blossoms from last year just from being Japanese.
Yeah,
But then again, things change and seasons change. So, but yeah, I love the away kit. Of course, I love the home kit. I love wearing black as well. And yeah, it's a very good contrast in between the two kits.
and despite not being able to wear the cherry blossom kits, I'm sure you'll be able to find your way to go get it one of these days. And for trading cards and other things, you mentioned during your time at Wake Forest, you weren't necessarily the mold of a typical student athlete. Talk to me a little bit about like how that affected you growing up, how that affected you even today.
Yeah, it comes from it comes from Japanese culture as well, of like dedicating your life to one single thing. And um, not only that, but attention to details as well is something I take pride upon, and I'll be disappointed if I don't, if I miss a detail or something like that. But yeah, it shaped me as a player, shaped my daily routine, shaped me as a person as well. So um, yeah, it comes from Japanese roots. I guess almost you can say Confucian ideals, rooted from China. But um, yeah, it's my father was, taught me discipline, respect at, like the finest of details. And I want to live that every single day, even if, I may have regrets. But my dad always told me to have the least amount of regrets, before before the end of end of your life. So that's something I live by every single day, and that's shaped me as a player.
And finally, I just wanted to wrap this interview by asking you a quick question about your time in St. Louis. You said things change, things happen, but the important thing is to move forward and learn and to get as much out of it as possible. Would you like to reflect a little bit about your rookie season, how it went, things you would like to improve? That way, you can come into this DC environment and, like you said, bring a lot and even more than 100%.
Yeah, of course. Well, first of all, it's just gratitude from me just to say thank you to everybody that was part of the St. Louis City community. They've made my career, so much easier to adapt to the new team. And coming from college as well, they've helped me a lot. But me personally, as a player, it's I was very inconsistent, I have to say. And consistency is something that I pride myself on as well. Is like day in and day out, I need to perform. And you know, I am a perfectionist. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm still trying to figure that out as a player, but um, yeah, like I always say, like strive for perfection, knowing you'll never achieve it, and it's just how close you can get to perfection. And um, that's basically the line you have to draw in terms of expectations or like standards. And yeah, St. Louis, I had really good performances one day, and then the next day in training, I'll be really, really bad. And that has to be eliminated for sure. That has to be eliminated. And especially being a long season, being a first year pro, I knew I had to learn how to do it. So I was able to, tell myself like, it's your first year, but it also wasn't an excuse. Like I had two sides of me, just almost clashing. And, now I'm very excited for this opportunity at DC and just looking to be more consistent and giving not only just my performances, but my personality into the team as well, and see if I can inject some sort of a positive mentality and continue to help this team win everything. So that's that's basically what I'm really focused on right now.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. It was a great conversation. Love to hear about your input, but
Thank you.
this has been it from me.